So my name is Kit McPherson. I own a property management company up in Seattle, Washington. It's my second company. I've been doing this since 1980. I had a company in the 1980s and then went on to open Maple Leaf Property Management in 2010. And yeah, I mean, I've been in real estate since I was 18, and I gravitated over to property management pretty early on, and I've seen a lot of changes in the industry, but I think the changes we've seen in the industry the last 5 years um, have been, I mean, if I take how we did it in the 1980s up until, like, let's say 2020, from 2020 on, it's completely different, like completely different. So yeah, so we really scaled up Maple Leaf Property Management based on a lot of the automation that is now available to us that we didn't have in the 1980s. We didn't even have computers in the 1980s. We kept track of everything on ledgers. So
Oh,
when we went with Showdigs back in 2019, we're portfolio based, and so each of our property managers has a certain amount of units that they manage. And uh, around 2018, I guess I really started pushing them to reach out and get assistance and to get people that will do things for them. We called them runners, people that were boots on the ground. I took this whole like strategic coach philosophy of who, not how, and started applying it to the property managers. It wasn't, how they were going to do the business. It was who was going to do the business for them. And that was the only way that they could really scale their portfolios. And so in that year, I think 2018, we hired like 7 assistants to just do condition reports and showings and all these different things, so that our property managers could just focus on managing, because that is a huge pain point for property managers when you have to do everything, from guest cards to showings to running the applications to putting lock boxes on a house for a vendor. You just can't have a very large portfolio. And so we started hiring assistants, and the problem with that was, I mean, it was great. The philosophy was great. It still works for us to this day, but we were it was a bit of a revolving door, in that we had people that were, going on to do other things, or they wanted to become a property manager, so they didn't want to be an assistant or a runner anymore. And so we were continually training these boots on the ground people. We never could get a consistent group of people that were always trained, to do that. So it just felt like we were always training somebody else to do those jobs. And that was when, right about the time that Showdigs came a knocking, that was in 2019. And it was Kobe Bensimon, and he came in to do a presentation. And I'll never forget sitting at the conference room table and all of a sudden hearing about this concept that they have as showings. And that was one of our biggest pain points. And I don't think he even got through the whole presentation. We were in. I mean, I just felt like if there was some way that we could take showings off of our property managers' plates, and have it more consistent, have it so that the properties are being shown every day, that would take time off of our property managers' plates. But it also, the side benefit of it was that it decreased our time on market. So because we were continuing, those properties were being shown right away, a property manager might not be able to get to it for a few days. So they would, make that appointment 3 or 4 days later, where with Showdigs, they were doing it, the same day. So the added benefit was that our owners were benefiting because we had less time on market. So we were all in. I mean, we never looked back. I mean, it took, we have a number of property managers, and some were all in from the very start, and others took a while to be convinced that it was a good thing. Some took a few years to be convinced that it was a good thing. It didn't happen overnight. But pretty much now, almost all the property managers, we still have a few that like to do their own showings, but for the most part, I have 18 property managers, so they're all in. So when we first started with Showdigs, we had, as I just pulled the numbers, 513, mainly single family residents. We still specialize mostly in single family residents. About 90% of our portfolio is single family. So we had 513 single family properties. We had 759 units. So we've been able to over double that, and it allowed us to just scale really quickly. um, each of the property managers was able to double their, and because we have a lot of property managers, you know, they were all able to double their portfolios. And so everybody was seeing the benefit, right away. And because we didn't have to train new property managers. We could take the property managers that we had and just add, this showings piece into it. What then happened was Showdigs also started doing move-in condition reports, mid reports, and some of the other things that take a great deal of time. And so that was just another thing that we could get off of our property managers' plates without having to hire more people. And so as those came on, we just were able to scale up faster and faster. And still, we're still in a position currently where we just can scale by, we've averaged, we probably average about 300 new properties a year. Now, the net doesn't come out to that because in our market, we're losing a lot to sales, like right now too. But it still has allowed us to have a positive growth, even when we're in a market where so many people are selling right now. So we were in the very beginning, and so Showdigs was in the very beginning, and so it was great for us because we were actually able to have Showdigs implement a lot of the things that we needed. And so we kind of felt honored that, we were able to help move that so that it was geared, towards, because my property managers are very vocal, and
Mhm.
they knew that we were kind of beta testing this program, and so they just let it all out. I mean, that was like they wanted to make sure that they got the product that they wanted. And Showdigs has been so, I mean, they're always there. They're anytime, even to this day, when maybe we don't have as many suggestions as we used to, because, you know, you guys have a great product, but there's always little things that we always feel we can tweak. And there's always somebody there we can talk to. There's always somebody there that will listen. The training is always fabulous. No one has ever felt like, they had to like go to a bot to learn something. There's always been a person that has been there that has helped them, walk them through. And so, yeah, you guys have been through many and many, many versions, and the ones today are so much better than, in the beginning. Um, but it's we've always been able to really get through all of that. Showdigs has been just really customer service oriented. If a property manager has 10 or 12 turns on, and they're all happening on the last few days or the first couple days of the month, they physically can't do it. And when we started going with Showdigs, we backed off on the number of people that were our boots on the ground, because now Showdigs was our boots on the ground. And so they are able to, Showdigs has so many agents that they work with, that our property managers then were able to get all of those turns done because they didn't have to do all the move-in condition reports. So a lot of the property managers still, if they can, like to do their own, because it is, you want to get your eyes on the property and you really want to make sure that everything is perfect, but you physically can't do this. So it's like the next best thing. And they're in, if Showdigs agents put anything on there, they're open, we can contact them, we can get more information if they say, property wasn't clean, or there wasn't a railing on the stairwell, or something like that. Um, the other thing that they embraced even more was the midterm. We do the first year we have a property, we do two inspections. We're with Z inspectors, so we do one do it yourself inspection where we guide the tenant through it about 2 or 3 months into tenancy. And then at about 6 to 8 months, we will do an in-person. And we send those over to Showdigs like in bulk. They get them every month. They get all the mids that we need done. And I don't think any property manager is doing their mids anymore. They have all gone over. It's been a godsend. And nothing drops through the cracks. Inspections don't drop through the cracks. It's nothing worse than when you're talking to an owner who says, I've been paying you all this money, but you didn't even go in and see my property last year. And had been assigned to one of our people internally who got busy and never got it done. And bam, you got egg on your face. So they all go out to Showdigs now, and they're monitored. They're all done. And it's just such a relief. And so yeah, we have 100% adoption on our mid inspections. The results, well, we've over doubled, and we've been able to do it with pretty much the same number of property managers, where we just went a lot more to this whole who, not how philosophy. Who's going to do it, instead of how are you going to do it? How's a property manager going to do it? And so we've got, the property manager is still very much the communicator with the owner and the tenant, but between Showdigs, and then we've gone more to remote team members. And we have some of our property managers have been able to move. When one of our property managers, her spouse moved to Maine, and she was able to move there and still keep her book of business. We never could have done that before, ever. We've got another property manager that just moved to Palm Springs. Never could have done that before. So now we don't lose our talent. We're able to continue with our talent because we have all these boots on the ground. And Showdigs is very much our boots on the ground. And then we do still have some internal people that go out and do the actual move out. And, we have to get our eyes on it. It's not like we can completely have them take over, but they've taken over, like 80% of it. So, yeah. So we can still scale up. I mean, we still have the ability. We're bringing on more remote team members, both in the United States and out of country, to help with things that are repeatable, like utilities and all that type of thing. But Showdigs pretty much, except for meeting vendors, which maybe they'll do next, pretty much has taken over the whole showing inspections. So we really are able to scale up quite quickly when we need to. When the leads come in, we can do that. We can handle that. So we anticipate, that we will continue to grow at a really good, healthy pace. So Showdigs for us has, we couldn't have scaled the way that we did. And it's a real quality product. I mean, you're really proud of the partnership that you have with them. And so, I mean, if you are, if you have a company that, number one, you want to scale, number two, you want to keep, you don't want to hire more people, but you want to keep the people that you have, but have, as I said, the boots on the ground with Showdigs. It's like this, it's a perfect union for that, because they are using people that are in our industry. They know how to show houses. They know what to look for when they're doing a move-in condition report, because they're in the real estate industry. And so, I said, if you want to scale up, it's without increasing your payroll. And yes, you do pay for the service, but if things, when things get like in the off season, you're not keeping that extra payroll to keep people busy. And in the high season, you're not having to hire extra people that then you're going to have to lay off. So it's a great thing. And if anyone is wanting to scale up, I just think it's the best way to do it.